The uncomfortable truth is the enemy doesn't just tempt you randomly. He has been studying you. The way that he tempts women, literally from the Garden of Eden, it's not random. So those things that have been happening in your life that you thought were just normal, they are actually influenced from the spirit realm first. The enemy has been perfecting his tactics against you and knows exactly where you're vulnerable as a woman. In the Garden of Eden, the Bible reveals that Satan approached Eve first, not by coincidence, but by strategy. His first words were, "Did God really say that?" He could have gone to the husband, but he went to her for a reason. So he tempts men a very different way from the way that he tempts women. And I feel like as women, we should really understand his tactics, how he works, so that we know how to overcome. Paul tells us in the Bible that we need to not be ignorant of his devices. We need to know exactly how the enemy works so that we know how to stand alert, be on guard, and to resist him. There are countless ways that he does it, but I'm going to be talking about 3 today. The first way he tempts you is by making you to constantly compare yourself and live in insecurity. Girl, I know this one is real. If you've never been a victim or guilty of comparison, then let me know down in the comments, but a lot of us have been, including myself. It's so subtle the way it is, but it can leave you feeling so, unfulfilled, leaving you feeling like you're not enough. There's social media. We have access to seeing so many people's accomplishments, but this is not healthy. And I really feel like it affects women a lot more than it affects men. The enemy uses this strategy because it keeps you focused on what you lack rather than what you do have. And what I mean by that is you're looking at another person who has spent time developing a character or developing a skill or working hard in their lives. You're so focused on the fact that you don't have X and Y. Meanwhile, all along, it's actually inside you. God has placed the same potential inside you in a unique way, unique abilities, unique talents, but you don't spend time to actually discover it. You don't spend time to actually train it, to actually discipline yourself, to actually work hard passionately at whatever God has called you to do. It actually kind of paralyzes you. That is why you're spending more time consuming than you're even creating. You're spending more time admiring or being influenced rather than allowing God to cultivate you from within so that you too can also blossom and flourish in life. So in order for you to overcome this, you need to learn to appreciate what you have, appreciate who you are, learn to notice the great qualities about yourself, the great things about your life, living in gratitude for all that God has blessed you with. And if you need to take a break from following certain people, stop looking at other people's lives, it will help you a lot mentally. The next way he tempts women is through the emotions. Everyone says women are emotional, women think with their emotions, women are led by their emotions compared to men who are more logical. Emotions aren't actually a bad thing, and I do think that it actually can be a strength when women are in touch with their emotions. When emotions aren't in check, that's when it can be a problem. When your emotions are not surrendered to God, it can be an entry point for deception. And what do I mean by this? What I mean is that the enemy can lie through your emotions to make you feel like you'll always be alone, God doesn't care about your pain, or you need to be in a relationship right now, even if it's not God's best for you, just to avoid loneliness. So that's what I mean by the wrong kind of emotions. If you want to grow into being a godly woman, you have to learn to be disciplined even in your emotions. You have to learn emotional stability. You have to learn how to get your emotions in check, learn how to self-regulate your emotions through the power of the Holy Spirit within you. So it doesn't mean shut off your emotions, don't be in touch with your emotions. You're just learning how to go on a healing journey with Christ so that your emotions can be under control. They can be under control because they can lie to you. The enemy can use it to take advantage of your thoughts, of your mind, the way that you perceive certain situations. So learning how to grow in emotional stability is so powerful and so important. Another way the enemy manipulates your emotional state is by making you so reactive rather than being a discerning woman. When you're overly excited, you may rush into commitment, or when you're feeling too low or depressed, it makes you want to isolate yourself or withdraw from other people or even make fear-based choices. You're more likely to stay in a toxic relationship just because of that fear of the unknown. You're even more likely to stay away from God's presence because of that feeling, emotions of unworthiness and condemnation. So my encouragement is for you to surrender your emotions to God and ask Him to heal you. Get to the root of the Lord. Take your time, be patient with Him so that the enemy has no access into your life. The next way he tempts women is through lust and validation seeking. Now, this is an interesting one. I did make a separate video about lust. If you haven't seen it, go check it out, and how it is so prevalent in society today. Now, the spirit of lust does attack men and women, but specifically how it attacks women is that the enemy makes you feel like you need to be desired to feel valuable, or you're only worth what others or men think about you. This is what pushes a lot of women into cycles of seductive self-presentation, emotionally entangling relationships, and a dependence on attention or male validation to feel enough. There's also that lust to be seen, that lust to be affirmed. And when that becomes the goal, there will be a lot of compromise as the method in women's lives. So what the enemy does is that he would influence women to dress for attention rather than dignity, or flex for affection and live to please people, live to please men instead of pleasing God. And it all just leaves women feeling empty and even more insecure. But there is a better way. Jesus doesn't validate us based on what others think about us, but based on who He made us to be. Like Jesus will love you even when the compliments stop. Even when others don't see your worth or your value, Jesus' love is unconditional, because truly, women, because you are amazing, you are special in the eyes of God, and you don't need a man to tell you that. You don't need social media to affirm that in your life. So that lust, that desire has to be completely cut off from you, so that you live in a state of just contentment and being truly happy with who you are, who God has made you to be. You're truly content in your life, and you don't need a compliment to make you feel confident as a woman. This way, you wouldn't have to compromise or reduce your standards just to get affection or love from the wrong places. So these things seem subtle, these things seem simple, but they're still spiritual warfare. Spiritual warfare isn't only having sleep paralysis at night. The enemy can be very subtle. Some of his attacks are very obvious, some are not as obvious, and that's why I'm making this video, so that you understand what he does and so that you can also overcome. So that is it for today's video, guys. Let me know if I should make a part 2. Like I said, there's so many ways that the enemy tempts you. Thank you so much for watching today's video. Like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye guys.